welcome back to the build. Today I'm going to take the thermostat out of the engine to allow free flow around the cooling system. As the rubber seal is still needed to stop water leaking from the bottom hose, I'm going to cut the guts out of this and then put this plate back in with the rubber seal on and do another test. I now have the bottom hose back on the engine. Just need to wait for the sealant to dry before I fill it up with water, before I top up the coolant. These are no longer good to me. It's misfiring quite bad. I suspect the plugs are sooted up again, so I'll take one out and have a look. Yeah, they're not good at all. I have ordered another set of plugs to put in before I get the car tuned. Now I'll give them all a clean up so I can run it one last time. I may even drop the oil before the dyno, as there is bound to be fuel in the oil by now. After a fresh build, you get a grey, nasty coloured oil come out. So I'll get some 530 fully synthetic in before I run the car up again. I can only blame myself. Oh. Ew. This one I bought earlier. We have fresh engine oil and oil filter. I have topped up the coolant overnight. I have cleaned all the plugs up. We have the thermostat removed. So next I want to get the engine up to temperature again and see if we can get all of the air out of the coolant. This means getting the front of the car higher than the back, so the header tank is the highest part in the cooling system. Just fired it up again and it's still missing. I'm presuming it's the plugs. I've got a new set on order. I'll wait until they come, I'll put them in, and fingers crossed. I'm going to take the platinum plugs out that were fresh in when the motor was built and put the original plugs back in. They're just a slightly different heat plug, so if the engine runs without a misfire, I know I have an issue with the plugs. I now have the original plugs in the engine. It's a laborious process changing the plugs. Fingers crossed we don't have a misfire. See how there's lots of air in the cooling system? Just got the water temperature up to 80 degrees, so I've literally just turned the fan on now. So I'll see what it drops down to. So the fan's been going for a couple of minutes and the temperature's dropped down to just under 70. That proves that that system works well. And the car's being under load, obviously it'll run a bit hotter, but I'll have the cooling on the sides. Overall, I think it should run at a good temperature. I'm going to shut it down now. All I wanted to do is get the water pump going, so hopefully I can get all the air out of the system. Before I get the car tuned, I'm going to plug the code reader in, just to see what codes I have, so I have a record of what faults are currently on the car. 8 codes found. Let's read the codes. Starter switch, circuit low. Park neutral switch, input circuit low. DTC definition not found. Sensor 2. That's the one I removed, I think. All of those codes have come back. 8 codes found. Yeah, exactly the same codes. As the car is going to be put on a trailer and taken to the dyno this weekend, I'm going to raise the ride height slightly. This should hopefully make it logistically easier to get it around. I need to take the wheels off anyway because I'm going to have one last go at the brakes before I get it back down on the floor. I've gone on about 22mm raise at the front. The back's less important, and I think it was slightly lower. So now I've got almost a full tank. I'll probably go maybe about 18mm at the back.
I have bled the brakes for the third time now, bleeding it for ages and simultaneously pulling the handbrake and the foot pedal. I think there was air in the handbrake. Either way, it's much better now and it'd be perfectly adequate to dyno the car with the amount of brakes we have, so that's good news. I now have a brand new set of spark plugs. I'll get those installed in the car. I only want to run it to get it onto the trailer tomorrow, so I'll do that and then I'll get the car on the ground, wheels back on, and make sure it's good to go. It's back down on the ground. The ride height is a bit more manageable now. It should make things easier for the chaps who are going to tune the car, and also for me to get this outside and onto the road. So it should be all strapped on now. Put the car into gear. Morning, just going to check the straps. All looks okay. It was awesome to see the car driving for the first time, well, technically third time, even if the engine is running poorly. It should sound amazing once we get the EJ20 sorted and tuned on the rollers. We may have figured out what is at fault, and I will get onto that shortly. I will now play the clip again so you can hear the Peugaru. It almost sounds like it's running on 3 cylinders. Let's hope it's a simple fix. For the first time in 3 years, this tent will be empty for at least a week or two. Yesterday I took the Peugaru up to Scooby Clinic in the Peak District. I showed the guys around the car and explained what I want doing. I want the car running reliably.
to get all the other parts of the car right, like the suspension, tyres, brakes, all the things you need to have a good driver's car. All being well, there are no major issues. The first tune should be over 300 horsepower. On the standard 5-speed box, you're fairly limited to power, so 300 to 350 horsepower is about the limit of what that gearbox will take if you're going to drive it enthusiastically. In regards to the engine, we know it was running rich. We also believe there could be an issue with one of the tumbler valves in the inlet manifold, and if this is the case, it will have to be sorted before they can do the tuning. There are options on delete kits, so now it's in their hands to sort out. They will do a full spanner check of the car on the ramp before they start any tuning work, so it'll be interesting to see the feedback they give me, as not many people have seen the car in the flesh in detail. We should know soon what sort of power this engine will make. Leave a comment below with the figure you think it will make, either power to the wheels or the crank. I'll pick a garment from the BlendLine store for whoever gets the closest figure. I will be sure to keep you updated on any progress. Hopefully in the next video the car will be running well and we can get it to a track and start driving it. Thank you for following along with the build. Leave any questions you might have in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you hopefully very soon.